And welcome, everybody. We are live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, and yet there is neither a Goon nor an Ironhead involved in this production. This is Chris Buchanani here live on 98.7 The Fox, filling in for the Ironhead and filling in for the Goon, giving up only about 300-some pounds on him. His beloved campus icon, my obligatory PSU pregame show co-host, Mike the Mailman.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. This is
It's a pleasure, man. It's always great being on the air with you, Mike. And I feel like Goon always travels for the Super Bowl.
Yes, he does.
And Ironhead typically has wrestling travel around this time.
That's right.
Michigan match is home.
That's right.
But he had some other scheduling conflicts. So we're able to keep the tradition going, which is that most years, Thursday before the Super Bowl, we're in here filling in for the guys.
I forgot about that. You're right. Tell them thanks.
They're grateful to you for being here. We're going to talk pretty much probably wall-to-wall Super Bowl. The Birds versus the Chiefs for the second time in 3 years. In the second hour, we're going to go over a lot of these great Super Bowl prop bets. Joining us at the bottom of this hour, we're going to have another one of our obligatory pregame show co-hosts. Horn's in town. I tried to get him here, but he has a conflict, unfortunately. We could have had the whole group. But Brandon Noble, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle, is going to join us. Brandon broadcasts NFL games on the radio during the season. I don't believe he had the Chiefs this year. Might have had them once, but I know he definitely had the Eagles. So he's going to be, and he lives in the Philly area, so he's going to be able to talk a lot about how these teams match up, what to look for from Philadelphia, what to expect out of the Eagles coaching staff. But first question, I know the weather's a little sketchy for you, Mike. You going to try to make it down to Philly for the game?
I'm going to try. Weather permitting, we're going to go because I'm on a football contest every year.
Yes.
At one bar at Ardmore.
Yes.
And they always have a football party, a Super Bowl
Shout
party.
them out.
McCuskey's and Ardmore, a great place. Cricket Avenue. Our older daughter, Mary Kay, introduced us to that bar. And it's like a Cheers bar. I go in there now, they know I'm Mike the Mailman. They know me now.
It's awesome.
Which is
I love
great.
it.
It's a good time.
And a reminder to our local listening audience on the radio, you can hear the Super Bowl live here on 98.7. The Fox coverage begins at 5 p.m. And if you, like me, are less than enamored of Tom Brady's broadcasting skills, you can always just put the television on mute. You can tune your radio if you still have one in your house, which I do not, full disclosure. So you can just go to 987thefox.info and put on the live stream, which is how I and many other people listen to the radio these days. And you can hear the Westwood One crew covering the Super Bowl, which will be, I assure you, a much higher quality, more riveting broadcast than whatever we get out of Tom Brady.
It's funny. I do the same thing when Penn State Wrestling is on radio. It's an away match. I listen to Jeff the Ironhead because he's a much better than anyone that the Big Ten Network has. And I watch it on the Big Ten Network, but I listen to Ironhead. It's great.
Yeah, the Ironhead is truly the only way to experience a Penn State wrestling match.
Absolutely. He
has got to be, Mike, one of the most unique, talented voices in collegiate wrestling.
No question.
Every big program has their guy. I don't know that anybody are better than Ironhead.
I'd put Ironhead against any of those guys.
Yeah, I was filling in for Goon on Tuesday right here on this program, live from Quaker Steak and Lube. Come on out and join us. And we were planning to get to the Jim Knowles press conference.
Oh, okay.
Because Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator, came over from Ohio State, had his introductory press conference at noon on Tuesday. And there was so much I wanted to get into with Ironhead about the Iowa match from Friday. I think we spent about 45 minutes to an hour on wrestling. We never got to Jim Knowles.
That's okay.
So, you got to preference the sports that are in season. Don't you agree with me?
Absolutely. And now it's wrestling season, big time.
Yeah, 100%. So let's get back to talking about the Super Bowl. You are an Eagles fan.
That's correct.
As am I. So we are just, look, if you're watching on the internet, I'm wearing my Kelly Green, Randall Cunningham jersey.
Although I have a little surprise.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to reach into my bag of tricks.
Is this coming out right now?
Yes, right now.
All right. Very good. Mike the Mailman here has got a surprise for me. And he just put on a red and black Kansas City baseball cap.
It's the Monarchs from the Negro League.
The Kansas City Monarchs.
Somebody gave this a long time ago. You used to work the He used to work the Monarch game a long.
You're kidding me.
No, I got to like in 1980 something, and he said, Mike, I know you like hats, so he just gave me this Kansas City Monarch. I never wore it, but I thought I'd have to bring it down today.
First of all, look,
that's really cool.
I find, as an aside, I find the history of the Negro Leagues fascinating. There is, I want to say it is in Birmingham, Alabama. There's a Negro Leagues museum. Now, don't quote me on that. Might be it's in Alabama. I think it's in Birmingham, but I have really put that on my my bucket list. I want to get down there and check that out.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, that is a red piece of apparel with the letters KC on it. So I want you to get it off the set immediately.
That's great.
Yeah. Don't put it on camera any longer. No red. No more red. It's
so great.
When there's a story about I guess one of the first years James Franklin was here, he went and had lunch at the Corner Room. And, the Corner Room's logo is that the red circle, the button that says meet me at the corner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So so I guess the staff was wearing red T-shirts that had that meet me at the corner logo on it.
Oh.
And James called for the general manager and he was like, this is not acceptable.
Oh, that's
like
good.
we can't have people wearing this much red. You got to get them in blue shirts. And now if you notice, if you go to the Corner Room, the staff only wears red or blue apparel.
That's another
blue or white apparel.
That's
no red.
Another reason I like James Franklin.
Yes.
His heart's in the right place. That's definitely true.
So you're an Eagles fan, Mike, as am I. You've been following the team longer than I have, probably like 6 or 7 years longer than me.
At least.
And this is, I think, without dispute, probably the most successful stretch of Philadelphia Eagles football in franchise history.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. Most definitely. We've suffered through many seasons. It's been fun the last 3 or 4 years. It's fun.
There have been brief highlights. There's the 1960 championship team.
That's right.
By the way, only NFL team to defeat Vince Lombardi in a championship game is the 1960 Eagles.
Wow.
So hang your hat on that.
That's definitely good.
Then, you had the 80 team that went to the Super Bowl. Again, I'm wearing the Kelly Green, Randall Cunningham today.
That's
those late 80s, early 90s, Green Machine defenses. And Randall, the ultimate weapon. Those were great teams. Kind of underachieved in the postseason, unfortunately.
Never made it to the top. Yep.
And then, Mike, I think the great irony, if you want to call it that, of Philadelphia now matching up 2 times in 3 years with Andy Reid.
Oh, yeah. That is irony. It really is.
Is that, again, so I was born in 79. So, Randall is my Eagles quarterback. He was the first quarterback of the Eagles when I really started watching the team. I don't remember Ron Jaworski.
Wait, you were born in 69?
79.
I'm only 10 years older than you are?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. It's not been that much of a difference between you and me watching the Birds. But the mid to late 90s, a time where, I'm in junior high school, I'm in high school, I'm watching the games every weekend with my dad. A lot of bad Eagles football.
Yeah, it was.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you would sit down every Sunday afternoon, essentially out of obligation.
Yeah. You're right.
It's like I'm going to watch this team, and I have next to zero expectation. They're even going to have a chance to be competitive, let alone I'm going to see a win. And yet you would just suffer through it. And so Andy Reid came in, hired to be coach in 1998, drafts Donovan McNabb, and the Andy Reid era of Eagles football, despite not producing a championship, I think did 2 things. First of all, it gave all of us a chance to do the opposite of what I just described,
right? Which
was sit down every Sunday with an expectation of seeing a competitive football game and more likely than not a win.
Right.
Right. And I know the Steelers fans here in the local listening audience, that's a matter of course for them practically through most of their life.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, if you don't have it, and to get it, that's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think, again, going back to the sale of the team from Norman Brayman to Jeffrey Lurie.
Yep.
You had one of the cheapest clown car organizations in the league. Like, Goon's not here. I got a Super Bowl prediction I got to read on the air, which I will do later in the show. Goon's older brother, who was a lineman on the 86 championship team.
Yep.
Toward the end of his NFL career, he was in camp with the Eagles. Now, this is during the Norman Brayman era.
Oh, okay.
And Goon tells this story that Chris had come over from the Colts. So now keep in mind, he's on a day-to-day, 10-day contract, day-to-day contract or whatever, just trying to make it and hang on one more year. So camp with the Eagles. And so he's got his cleats from the Colts organization. And the trainer comes up to him and says, you're required to have green and white cleats at practice.
Oh.
And he says, oh, okay. So where do I get them? And he's like, okay, here's where you can buy them. This is the bill.
Wow.
And he couldn't believe it. He said, wait, you're not going to supply us with cleats? Oh, no, not during practice. Like, yeah, no, like ownership requires that you buy them. He said, well, look, I've got these white cleats. They just got a blue swoosh on them. I'll just paint it green. And he's like, nope, got to buy the team issued cleats. So he had to buy cleats in order to practice and get cut by the Eagles. That was in a nutshell. That's where that organization was. Wow. And you wonder why. It was an embarrassment to watch him on television every Sunday.
Certainly.
There are owners, Mike, who treat their sports teams like investments. Mm-hmm. And so if they can spend nickels to make dimes, they'll do it. Yeah. Pittsburgh Pirates fans, you know of what I speak.
Yep.
And then there are owners who view their ownership of a sports team partially like a civic obligation, and also sort of like a vanity play for themselves. So what they care about most is winning, just because they want to be able to go to their cocktail parties and brag to the other owners that my team won and yours didn't.
That's right.
And that's Jeff Lurie. And so bringing in Andy Reid and the stability and the leadership he brought to the Eagles organization is he didn't get them a Lombardi. But what I do think Andy Reid did was elevate Philadelphia Eagles football to where now this franchise is consistently among one of the premier franchises in the league, which if you would have gone to high school era Chris Buchanani and told me you're going to live to see that, I never would have believed it.
And the people are starting to believe that now all the time, too. That their team's going to be a contender, just like the Phillies. And the Phillies management treat the Phillies, because I know
they do.
They love all the big-time players. Say this is the best franchise to be with. And people expect the Phillies as well as the Eagles to always produce. And they've been doing that, which is really good.
It's such a contrast because the Flyers are owned by a corporation, which is the absolute worst. You will never get a worse situation as a sports fan than to have your team owned by a corporation.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
So like, I know, so I was, when I was a little kid, first sports team I ever remember following is the 85 Bears. Okay. And so I've always had like kind of a, soft spot for the Chicago teams. I love the city of Chicago. It's one of my favorite spots in the country to go visit. And so I've followed the Cubs my whole life. And I know when the Tribune Company owned the Cubs, it was a disaster.
Lousy.
That's just another line item on their balance sheet. Mm-hmm. And you can't win that way. You have to have an individual who, like I said, believes in the concept of civic pride and believes in their own personal vanity. That's the only way you're going to win, because you have to make bad business decisions to win in sports. And so Comcast owns the Flyers. You can't have a team that's successfully owned by a corporation that's going to win. So for all the Penguins fans in the audience who delight in the suffering of Flyers fans and take pleasure in the misfortune of the Flyers franchise, let me tell you, it is probably going to continue, because as long as a corporation owns them, they're not going to do what's needed to win. And the Sixers, the less said about them, the better. But you raise a good point. The Phillies and the Eagles are there to offset it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they carry the year, which that carries it. The city, our daughters both live in the Philadelphia area, and they say how much everyone's so much more happy this week. You can just feel the happiness of Philadelphia.
How about it?
Yeah, it's like it's good for the city. It really is.
Mike, how about this? The Kansas City Chiefs, and I want to go back to talking about Andy Reid later in the hour, but since we just stumbled onto the topic, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, at least for me, that was a franchise I never really had much of an opinion about one way or another.
Right.
They had a lot of players over the years I liked.
Oh, yeah.
You know, again, like kid in the 80s, loved Joe Montana. So I rooted for him when he got traded there.
They had a defensive linebacker for Penn State a long time.
Oh, boy. You're going to put me on the spot. I'm not going to remember
He
it.
was good friends with Mary Kate. I mean, we knew one. We knew.
Tamba Hali.
Yeah. He came in. He was.
Sorry, I had to think for a second. So Tamba was a defensive end here, but they moved him to linebacker. Yeah.
But that's when I started thinking about Kansas City. That's
yeah.
We knew it from Penn State.
Steph Wisniewski, great Nittany Lion, was on the Eagles' first Super Bowl team and on one of the KC Super Bowl teams here with Andy Reid. Yeah, never had much of an opinion about the franchise. And I actually always kind of felt bad for their fans because, you know, Kansas City is loyal fans.
Oh, yeah.
I know everyone's sick of them now, which is kind of where I'm going with this. But that fan base stuck with that team through lean years and a lot of disappointing years where they, you know, those Marty Schottenheimer teams that go like 13-3, they'd be the number one seed in the AFC and then get bounced in the second round.
Right.
And I kind of felt bad for them, to be honest with you. I respect any fan base that sticks with a losing team.
Yep.
You know, I'm not saying if you abandon a losing team, I necessarily blame you for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that because you can't continue to reward bad behavior.
Right.
But I do, like if I go look around the country and I see fan bases that are so passionate about their team that they show up rain or shine, I respect that. And I felt that was KC. So when they won that first Super Bowl, yeah, I was rooting for Andy Reid.
Oh, sure.
No ill will. That's my whole point about him turning the Eagles around. No ill will on my part whatsoever about Andy Reid. If you root for Andy Reid, I don't find any of their players to be particularly unlikable.
No, and it's not like New England. A lot of people didn't like the Patriots. I don't mind the Kansas City. I actually like their creativity, their play calling. I really do.
Well, I mean, and that's Andy, man.
Yeah, Andy.
Always been one of the great coaches in the league. Will now absolutely walk into the Hall of Fame and believe this, Mike. Going to be in the conversation for the greatest to ever do it.
I agree. I agree with you there.
But the ingredient he lacked in Philadelphia, and it's, you know, all due respect to Donovan McNabb, who is somewhat of a polarizing figure in the fan base. But again, kind of like Andy, I give credit for having many great years and helping turn around and stabilize the franchise. Donovan McNabb is multiple notches below Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Smith was multiple notches below Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
So the difference is an elite quarterback for Andy. You pair everything he's learned over his career, just his innate sense of offense, and then just like a quarterback who's going to be in the greatest of all time discussion as well. Yeah. That's scary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
So when I say that at one point or another, I was just kind of rooting on KC, even today, I don't really find a whole lot of guys on their roster I can dislike. There's some great dynastic teams that just had a lot of unlikable players. Right? Yeah. You brought up New England.
Yeah.
That Cowboys dynasty from the early 90s. I mean, just the punchable quotient on that roster was off the charts.
I thought we weren't allowed to say the word cowboy in the show.
Well, we're gonna have Noble on in the second
true.
segment, so we'll relax that
I
rule.
forgot about that.
I do sense, Mike, that America has grown weary of the Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
You think that's accurate?
No, yeah. I've seen that on different venues that everyone's tired of. I guess people don't like teams that continue to win. They like the variety.
It's boring.
It's boring. That's the word, boring.
There were a lot of people who have had it with the Taylor Swift stuff.
I think so.
Are you one of those?
I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah. See, you have your two daughters are grown, and so far you only have a grandson.
One son. Yeah.
So you are not living in the Swiftie ecosystem.
That's right.
Whatsoever. I on the other hand, I have a 12-year-old daughter, so
right.
I am mired in it. I'm mired in the Swiftie ecosystem.
That's true.
So it has been interesting to see how that definitely has brought eyeballs to the game
Yeah.
in a way that it didn't previously. Now, here's what I think. We've hit the saturation point on that. There's no more new customers going to come to the NFL because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce.
Yeah, right.
The Swifties who initially turned the game on last year because of this and knew nothing about it, one of two things has happened. They've either converted into NFL fans
and Kansas City fans,
and which is fine, right?
Sure.
But they're genuinely football fans as a result of being exposed to the game within the last 18 months.
Yep.
Or they just don't care and they're not going to care.
That's it's probably...
and so I think like the league needs. You can just take your foot off the gas pedal now if you're Roger Goodell because you've maximized the benefit you're going to get.
Yeah.
But what could happen is if you keep. How do I want to say this? If you keep trying to squeeze the sponge to get just a little bit more out, you risk starting to alienate the huge number of fans you had prior who don't care. They don't even know anything about Taylor Swift, right?
Yep.
And so all of this, Mike, is my roundabout way of asking you the question, improbably now, in Super Bowl 59, are our Philadelphia Eagles America's team?
I love it. I hope so.
Do you think so?
I think they are. Yep. For those reasons you just stated, I agree. I think they are.
So if you're just tuning in, this is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are live as we are every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 4 in the p.m. right here in Happy Valley, live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. We are live on 98.7 The Fox here locally, live on YouTube and Facebook for the audience watching us worldwide. I appreciate having you, all of us, along for the ride. I'm Chris Buchanani. I am filling in for Jeff the Ironhead Byers. Filling in for Keith Goon Conlin is my obligatory pregame show co-host, campus legend Mike the Mailman. We're going to take a break at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to be joined by former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle Brandon Noble, one of our only other obligatory cast members. Brandon does a lot of NFL broadcasting during the season, so I'm looking forward to getting his view on how this game stacks up. So appreciate all of you being here. A reminder to our radio audience, you can hear the Super Bowl here on 98.7. The Fox coverage starts at 5 p.m., and if you share my opinion of Tom Brady's broadcasting talents, I think I can recommend that you put the television on mute and turn the radio up. And if you don't have a radio in your house, which I don't actually, 21st century, it's very easy. You can listen to the station the same way I do. You can go to 987thefox.info and stream the radio signal. Wow. So, Mike, in addition to people getting tired of the Chiefs, which I think they are, I think there's another big reason America is rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles.
What would that be?
Can you guess?
No, I cannot.
Give it a little thought. It's very near and dear to our hearts here in Happy Valley.
There's a running back.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I mean, everyone loves Saquon. What he brings to the game, how humble he is. I think it's great for football. I mean, he is great for the NFL by far. Best thing.
He is a superstar.
Yep.
Right now.
Yep.
It's a lot for me to take in as a lifelong Nittany Lions and Eagles fan.
You're right.
Because the marriage of the Eagles organization and Saquon Barkley, and you say it right, who he is as both an athlete and as a human being, it has elevated his profile, and not for nothing, along with it, Penn State footballs.
Oh, yeah.
He's an unbelievable way. Like his ability now to show off his natural talents running behind the Eagles offensive line. He's a superstar, and he really and he's almost too good to be true.
Yeah, I can remember when you found out that he was going to be an Eagle, how excited you were.
Yeah,
and we kept saying on our obligatory show that he would have probably won the Heisman had he had a good offensive line back then. But now he does have a really good offensive line, and he's shown his talent. I mean, really unbelievable what he has done.
Mike, I am shocked that you were actually paying that much attention to our panel discussion that you remember that.
Oh yeah.
But it is true. It's true. And to me, since you brought it up, seeing what Saquon did this season, I remember going back to obligatory at that time, the 2017 season. I remember saying, I think it was the last show of the year, or one of the last ones. I said, Saquon Barkley not getting an invitation to New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation is going to look dumber and dumber with each passing year. And I think this absolutely highlights that he was just hamstrung by two things.
Yep.
I don't, not a great offensive line situation. We just didn't have the top end talent or the depth that we do now. And I also think he was punished in a way that he had his breakout game, which was the Iowa game that year, so early in the season. And then it was like everyone expected that he was going to be Superman every week, which was an unreasonable expectation. So it almost worked against him for that to happen when it did. I think if it would have happened in November, for sure he gets that invitation.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But, yeah, he's a weapon on the field. He is a great – I think he's been a stabilizing presence in the locker room.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of talk about not great locker room mojo on last year's team.
Yeah, even when he was a New York Giant, he was like respected by all the other players, and that says something. When all these big time players respected the young Saquon that came in then.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then I think earned a captaincy in year 2, which is crazy.
Yep.
That doesn't happen too often in the league.
No,
and it is wild that HBO did a documentary on the Giants offseason. And there's all that footage of the management and ownership going through their thought process and basically keeping Daniel Jones.
And
was a total disaster and it was now cut midway through the season versus paying Saquon Barkley. I think, Mike, the big mistake that they made in New York was not even – I don't think it was this offseason. I think it was last offseason. Because they were faced with a choice. Okay, we've got these two rookie guys at our two premier positions on offense. We've got not rookie guys, rookie contract guys. I mean, sorry. We've got quarterback Daniel Jones, got running back Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Oh yeah, sure.
Thrilled, over the moon.
Yeah.
But just objectively looking at it, one of those guys was going to get a contract extension, and the other one was going to get a franchise tag and a prove-it deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did the opposite of what they should have done. They franchised Barkley and gave Daniel Jones a big contract, which they are now paying for him to not play football for the New York Giants.
Wow. And people now, a lot of sports writers are talking about the value of running backs again. Because back then, for a while they were like, no, they're 2 or 3 years and they're gone. But now everyone said, hey, maybe there's some more teams are running more. Also, they said.
Here's what always happens in the NFL. It's one of the things I love to follow about it. It's a pendulum league. They always talk about it's a copycat league.
Yeah.
I think that's true, but I think that then feeds into what's a more important fact to understand. It's a pendulum league because once one team starts to do something well, other teams will copy it.
Yep.
And then what happens is you overweight over the course of 5 to 7 seasons in that direction.
Yep.
And someone figures out as a result, there's been a market inefficiency created that they can exploit.
Yeah.
And so the Ravens and the Eagles, two of the, and sorry, Steelers fans, I mean, it is what it is. They are two of the best managed, most stable franchises in the league. And Pittsburgh's right up there also. So I know there's a large portion of the listening audience that will feel some kind of way anytime I mention the Ravens organization. But the front office in Philly and Baltimore realized the league is now undervaluing the running back position.
Yep.
There are a couple difference-making players who are hitting the market. We can go out and really, to a lesser degree, Green Bay did this as well. All three of those teams went out and invested in Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
And all three paid dividends.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep.
So now I think you'll probably see, to some extent, the premium swing back towards emphasizing finding playmakers at running back.
Yep.
It's never going to be what it was in the 80s and 90s, just because it's going to continue to be a pass-first league.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely changed. So, Mike, I think we're going to wrap up this segment. We're going to head to a break. We are expecting, if not immediately when we come back, shortly thereafter. Oh, no, yeah, we're going to have them when we come back. Good. Our other obligatory PSU pregame show co-host, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle turned NFL broadcaster Brandon Noble is going to join us as we continue to talk all Super Bowl all the time. This is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Chris Buchanani filling in alongside Mike the Mailman live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College on 98.7 The Fox. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans, sourced from over 25 countries, and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates, Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys, 98.7 The Fox. The Goon and Ironhead.
Nope, neither Goon nor Ironhead. Buchanani here with Mailman, filling in live on 98.7 The Fox. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College, and we are joined now by our obligatory pregame show co-host, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle turned NFL radio broadcaster, Brandon Noble. What's up, Nobes?
Hi, Brandon.
Hey, boys. How we doing?
We're doing. Look at us. We're over the moon right now, Brandon.
Exactly. It's Super Bowl week, right? We had a little ice storm. I know you guys got that up there too. It was.
We did.
It definitely threw the morning off here, but just kind of hanging out and prepping for Sunday.
Awesome. Very good. Well, let me ask you the same question I asked Mailman in the first segment. Are the Philadelphia Eagles America's team on Sunday? I know you maybe feel some kind of way about it because you played for the so-called America's team, which is a divisional opponent of Philadelphia who shall not be named.
That's right.
No, they will not. You know what? I think they are. I think, it's a funny thing. It kind of looks like, when Tom Brady and Belichick and the Patriots were doing their thing, right? Whoever was playing against them, that's who America was pulling for. And that's just kind of what we do. And I get it. And look, I think that, the Eagles are a great story, right? They've done things a little bit differently this year. They've really gone kind of back to running the football, which is something that we don't do a lot of in the NFL anymore. And they've committed to it really after the bye week. They kind of figured out who they were and give those guys credit. So I do think that America is definitely leaning towards the Eagles. But look, that's going to be a tough task, man. Those guys, the Chiefs, are in the position they're in because they just win football games.
Yeah, and just for everyone's reference on air, Brandon, you did the Eagles-Ravens game this year, right?
I did. Yeah. I did. And that was a good football game. That was an actual.
That was great.
Yeah, especially if you're an Eagles fan.
No doubt.
It was a really good. That's kind of one of the games that you go back to as you start thinking about the Super Bowl, and in the Ravens, you've got a running game, a better running game really than the Chiefs do. I think maybe they don't use it the same ways, but you've got a quarterback that has a ridiculous arm and has the ability to extend football plays, which is something that Lamar and Mahomes do really well. So I think it'll be interesting to see if that game plan is what Vic Fangio brings this week to the Super Bowl, as a way to kind of handle Patrick Mahomes and his ability to kill you on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, and just extend the drive.
Did you didn't do any Chiefs games this year? Is that correct?
No, not this year. I was at the infamous Taylor Swift game a couple of years ago. The first time
I remember that.
But no Chiefs games this year for me. Obviously I watched them down the stretch, and you just kind of were like amazed. You kept waiting for them to lose, and they just figured out how to win. And I think that's the thing about teams like this is they know how to win.
Yeah, I was on the air with Ironhead on Tuesday, filling in for Goon, and we were talking about exactly that. I said, every championship team ends up with a horseshoe where the sun don't shine once or twice over the course of their season.
Yep.
I feel like, you think about that Hail Mary Washington had against Chicago where the defensive backs like yelling at the fans and then has to turn around and go try to make a play on the ball. Everybody gets one of those in a good season. I feel like KC's had like 13 or 14 of those this year. It's crazy. But, you get to a certain point as a team with superstar athletes, elite level coaching, and championship experience. Like if you go back and you think about like the 97, 98 Bulls, that team didn't have to be on every single night. They needed to be on when they needed to be, and they could just kind of flip that switch effortlessly. So as an Eagles fan, I come into this with such a healthy degree of respect for, number one, Pat Mahomes and what that guy can do. I mean, I think, Nobes, he is going to be, probably is already, but certainly by the end of his career, firmly in the conversation for greatest to ever do it. And I think his coach is going to be in that conversation for head coaches as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to Andy Reid first, and I think that Andy is definitely a guy that when it's all said and done, will be up there. When you look at his tenure with the Eagles, right, which is kind of where I got to know Andy Reid because I was in the NFC East for a lot of those years.
Yeah, sure.
And then look at how close he got there, right? How he took that organization, or he took that team, right, and built them into something. With the late great Jim Johnson, defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
And that group of guys, and continuously got them deep into the playoffs, with some epic football games, wins and losses there. But And then he goes to Kansas City, and they get Patrick Mahomes, which is a huge part of it. And he's been able to hold that thing together. And I think when you look at his creativity, you look at how he calls an offense, what he does with an offense, you look at the fact, you're talking about Steve Spagnuolo, right? Their DC, a guy that gets a lot of credit and deservedly so. They have really become what Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and those guys were during the Patriots dynasty. And I think it'll become that conversation, right? Because they're both of these head coaches, this is where I'm going with this, right? Is Belichick and Andy Reid have that generational quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now they do it in different ways, right? They do it, the quarterbacks do it in different ways, but they have great quarterbacks and the ability to win games with their defense. And both dynasties have been able to do that. And I think that's why you have to look at Andy Reid, and he gets up there on that Mount Rushmore of NFL coaches.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the KC defense, because I think there is so much emphasis on the offense because Andy Reid's an offensive coach, and, they got Mahomes and Kelsey. And, I talked about this all leading up to the AFC Championship game. I said, watch rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy. Just unbelievable to me, Brandon. It makes me angry just thinking about the fact that the Buffalo Bills front office knows, they know the one team, this great team they have put together, the one organization they can't get past is Kansas City. And what do? They let Andy Reid trade up and get a chance. By the way, they're going to the draft as the most wide receiver needy team of the contenders. And they trade out of the spot. They let Andy Reid just for next to nothing get a guy with Tyreek Hill speed. Just infuriating. So there's a lot to talk about the KC offense. But I really do think underappreciated in what has made them so competitive the last few years and gotten them through this season where, frankly, the offense has not been at the level it's been in previous years, is their defense. Just doesn't get a lot of attention. And that's really what I'm most concerned about coming into this game as a Philly fan, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Spagnuolo's done a great job. And he's a guy that I think that this year the narrative changed a little bit, right? When Kansas City kind of started this run, it was definitely offensive based. Yep. And the last two seasons, they've won with their defense. They lost Tyreek Hill. They lost a lot of those weapons on offense. They have injuries in the backfield. Look, Kelsey is Kelsey, but he's not what he was 5 years ago. So
sure.
So what you've seen though is they've really, and I don't think they get enough credit for this, is they've really went out, and I wish I knew the names. I didn't call a single Chiefs game this year, like you said, but they went out and put together a secondary and a linebacking core that can play exactly the way that Spags wants them to play, right? And that to me is the difference, right? That's what makes an organization great and a coaching staff great, is they said, hey, we've got this generational talent on offense, right? You get Pat Mahomes the ball last, we feel like we can win. But what happens if he doesn't have the football last? And I think you've seen that in the AFC Championship game against the Bills, right? That defense was on the field against Josh Allen, and Spags dialed up one of those blitzes, and he had the guys to do it. And I think that's been the big difference the last 2 years for this Kansas City Chiefs team in general, is the play of that defense and their ability to win ugly, because they're not the same offensive team that they were before, and they've gotten way better on defense. But look, this is okay, right? It's a quarterback-driven league. It's a offensive-driven league. That's where the storylines are. But that defense is the reason they got to the Super Bowl last year and won, and it's the reason they're here again this year.
I've watched a lot of their games this year too, and I think, I don't know the guy's name, number 58. He's a linebacker. He's everywhere. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah, this is what happens to me, guys. I mean, we're the three of us we're dealing with the cognitive degeneration that hits in at midlife, and Noble, it supercharges it with the CTE. So I can absolutely tell. He played for Missouri.
I want to say, is it Leo Chanel? Is that it?
Leo Chanel. So Leo Chanel's from Wisconsin. Yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
And then they have the kid from Missouri, whose name I couldn't tell you to save my life. I can picture him. I can tell you what he played. And both of those guys, the Missouri kid, I know our friends for the bloggy are watching. Maybe he'll bail me out and put it in the comments. But he was a first-round pick.
Yep.
Chanel was a depth later round guy. Mm-hmm. And they have been really strategic at being able to bring in young talent so that they can continue to pay Chris Jones and retain all of their talent on the offensive side of the ball. So let's though switch it over. And I know defense after your own heart, Brandon. You have a complicated relationship with the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. I understand, but there's got to be a part of you. I'm talking here with Brandon Noble, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, live from Quaker Steak Lube in State College on 98.7 The Fox. Noble, there's got to be a part of you. I know you love Vic Fangio. Just watching the talent on this defense do what they do.
Oh, absolutely. I've really enjoyed. And look, I played for the Cowboys. I played for the Redskins, right? Like I had some, I was very bad in the NFL when the Eagles were very good, right? So but I live in the Philadelphia area. I'm not from Philly. I don't live in Philly, just to clarify for everybody that gets angry when you say that, right?
I feel very strongly.
I am out in the western suburbs, right out in Chester County. I love this town. I love the way that they love their sports team. I love the passion. I love the energy. I love the anger. I love all of it. And I love it when the Eagles make a great push because everybody's happy and everybody's fun and talk radio is great. So all those things, I absolutely love it.
It's great when they're losing too, though, to be honest.
Well, see, that's the great thing about not being emotionally attached to it, right? I just get to ride the roller coaster. Do you know what I mean? So it's fun. But I really like what they've done here. They are Vic Fangio came in and early in the season, right? He talking about drafting and developing talent, right? What he's done was, and they didn't draft Zach Bond, but they drafted Nakobe Dean. They drafted the Georgia guys, right? Jalen Carter. And what Vic has done this year with the exciting whites, you know what I mean, in the secondary,
real quick, we're in central Pennsylvania, so a lot of Steelers fans. I got to explain the reference for people who understand. Okay, so Philly has two Caucasian defensive backs. Okay, they've got Reed Blankenship, who was an undrafted free agent. By the way, I was thrilled when we picked him up. I had him on my eye on him as a 7th rounder from out of I want to say Middle Tennessee State.
I think so.
Who has earned himself starting job, ball hawking safety, good tackler, really solid player on the back end for Philly. And then a guy I think probably some Penn State fans may be familiar from when he was at Iowa, Cooper DeJean. They drafted him to be their nickel back. And he, along with Quinyon Mitchell, their first-round pick out of the University of Toledo, both of those kids have stepped in and played like veterans as defensive backs. So there is this meme of this picture of a state store. They label all the wines. And I don't know, people who are really into wine talk about it in a way that I don't really understand. As somebody who palate-wise can't tell the difference between a $40 bottle of wine and a boxed wine. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. People who are really into it, they have their own language of talking about it. So there's this internet meme. It's just a picture of this row of bottles of white wine, and the sign says "Exciting Whites." So when Cooper DeJean gets drafted, somebody tweeted out a picture of that sign, and they said Reed Blankenship and Cooper DeJean next year.
Yep.
And it just caught fire. These guys have had T-shirts made up. They're starting an Exciting Whites podcast. So just for the folks who didn't get the reference. So I'm sorry.
And that's this is a young football team. I mean, when you look at Blankenship, he's a guy, like you said, Chris, he earned it, right? He struggled. He came in a couple of years ago and got picked on, and he has turned himself into a very, very good pro. DeJean has been ridiculous. That guy, once he got it kind of figured out, it took him a little bit. But man,
he was hurt in training camp, so he kind of had a steeper learning curve.
What an amazing football player. I mean, that's what he is. He's a guy they blitz, right? He fits in the run front. He can cover man to man. He's a damn good football player. And so, but what they've done is it took them a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden it clicked. And I got a buddy that's on the coaching staff there in Philly who works with their linebackers, and he played for me at Westchester, and he was like, when you're in a room at first with Vic, it's almost like a beautiful mind, right? It's like that thing where there's just like things moving around and you really can't wrap your head around what's going on. But it takes a little bit of time, and then you start to figure out how he sees things. And he does it in a really cool way. It's all coverage oriented. You know what I mean? Like he's very much what they call, he's into quarters concepts, and which is kind of a big thing in the NFL these days. But like they can pressure with four. I mean, look, they've done a great job. He's done a great job. The other side of it is they're playing lights out, but I go back to it's complementary football, right? And on the offensive side of the ball, this to me is the make or break moment. The reason that they're in the Super Bowl right now is after the bye week, they committed to running the football. They came out of the bye week and look, again, I live here in the area. People were calling for Sirianni to get fired. Like it was like you were kind of like, which way is this going to go? Again, amazing talk radio, but like from a just like where are we as a organization moment, there was a spot where you didn't know where it was going to go, and they committed to running the football behind the best O-line in the NFL, right? They take the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hand for the most part, which is that's okay, right? That's not a shot at Jalen, right? But they said, hey, look, we're going to run the football, we're going to make easy throws. And we're going to win that way. And that's exactly what they did. And when you do that, your defense is not as beat up. Your defense is not as tired. Your defense isn't on the field as much. And the other team's defense is. So it's just old school football. They run the ball. They play great defense. Jalen Hurts takes his opportunities when he gets them. And they've handled that situation really well too, right? The receiver, A.J. Brown is a diva, right? He's a receiver and he wants the football. But he's done a great job of handling all that, right? Winning covers up a lot of that stuff. And so I got a lot of respect for what Sirianni and Fangio and how he has done there in Philly.
Managing the personalities is a big part of it. You were talking about Andy Reid and what's the difference of Donovan McNabb / Alex Smith versus Patrick Mahomes. Well, yeah, obviously, I can't think of any examples. I mean, there are very few of coaches who win without elite talent, but I can give you tons of examples of coaches who have elite talent and don't win. Like it's a talent and a skill set to balance all of those personalities. And I was talking about this with Ironhead on Tuesday when I was on here, that I have gotten some questions from some friends who are Penn State football fans asking me why Jahan Dotson doesn't get more targets. And I said, well, just exactly to your point, Brandon, especially coming out of the bye week, Philly has really doubled down on being a running offense. So when you have Saquon Barkley and you have a running quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who's going to have some designed runs and going to have some pass plays that turn into run plays when he has opportunities. And then you even have Kenny Gainwell taking a few touches when Saquon's on the sideline getting a blow. And then in your passing game, your top three options are Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
The chances for anybody else are just not going to be there. And so Jahan, just for the Penn State fans in the audience, I mean, he has been a trooper all season long. Mm-hmm. Every time they have three receivers on the field, he's out there. He is blocking his butt off.
Yes.
He's doing everything that is asked of him. So I get the sense that there are no regrets in Philly about that trade at all. It's just when you have multiple all-pro caliber playmakers on your offense, there's only one football and only so many opportunities to go around. And when you're having a ton of success running the football, again, that probably actually condenses the game and reduces the overall number of opportunities to get targeted. So that's where we're at with Dotson for folks who are not following along real closely.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. There's only one football, right? And you're working your way through it. And I think that, he blocks, right? That's something that they talk about here in the city on the radio a lot, is how well all of these receivers block, right? They have bought into what they're doing. And that, look, a lot of that is because they're winning. You know what I mean? Like if they were not winning, if this was an 8-8 football team or whatever it is these days, that wide receiving room might have gone haywire if they weren't getting the football.
Yep.
So they've bought in. Winning kind of cures all those things. I'm sure they'd all like the football more, but at the end of the day, there's only one of them. And the other thing is, like, look, Saquon rips off 40, 50, 30-yard runs. Like, there's not a lot of opportunities to throw the football sometimes.
Yeah, very true. And puts some unique pressure on the defense from time to time. I think you saw that early in the NFC Championship game where Washington starts with the ball, goes on a long drive down the field. First offensive play, Saquon's in the end zone, and the defense is right back out there.
Yeah, oxygen on their face immediately, right? You're just like
a familiar feeling to you from back in '94.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, absolutely. Hey, look, man, the good thing about that is there's two sides of that quick 1-play drive, 2-play drive deal, right? Is if it's a touchdown, you get a lot of excitement. You're like, yeah, this is great. When it's a turnover and you're running back out there, that's a whole different animal right there. So yeah, and I think I saw a stat, we really haven't talked much about Saquon. We don't really have to, but like I heard it the other morning, and I know he has the record for the most someone has over 20 touchdowns. He averages the most yardage per touchdown. It was something absurd, right? Like anybody with over 20 touchdowns, but the average is like 30 yards a touchdown. It's insane. His big play ability, and a lot of that comes from them. Now he hit that one early against the Commanders, but a lot of it comes from their willingness to stick to it.
Yeah,
and you have to be willing to continue to hand that guy the football in order for those things to happen. And again, I give them, I give Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni a lot of credit for being willing to do that, and obviously Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, and their O-line. Is ridiculous. I'm excited to watch that matchup between the Eagles O-line and Chris Jones, and that defense. The Chiefs defense has not given up a 100-yard rusher yet this year. I mean, there's a real challenge here, right? That's going to be so much fun to watch for me.
To quote the great Denzel Washington as Coach Herman Boone, and remember the Titans. It's like Novocaine. Just give it time. It'll work. And that's what the Eagles need to do. They just got to stick with it. Hey, Noble, I got to get to a break here. Can we get you for another segment?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. All right. We're going to take a break here. And when we get back, we'll have more with our obligatory castmate, Brandon Noble. This is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube here on 98.7 The Fox. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing and State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates, Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXX, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America. 98.7, the Fox State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
No Goon, no Ironhead. It is the Thursday before the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Chris Buchanani and Mike the Mailman from the obligatory PSU pregame show filling in for the Goon and Ironhead. We're here live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. We've got on the line our other obligatory castmate, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle Brandon Noble. Nobes, I did try to get Horn on the show, actually. He's in town, but he couldn't make it. He had to go home and get back to Pittsburgh before daycare pickup.
He's in that world right now.
Yes, absolutely. So we're live here on 98.7 The Fox locally in Happy Valley. And a reminder that local radio listeners in central Pennsylvania can hear Super Bowl 59 right here on 98.7 The Fox coverage beginning at 5 o'clock. So, Noble, when we went to break, we were touching on Saquon Barkley a little bit. I want to stay there because one of the things that Mike and I talked about in the first segment before you came on was the way the emphasis on the running back position seems to have shifted back a little bit more this year in the NFL. And I said to Mike, what I always believe about the NFL is that when they say it's a copycat league, it's true. But what that then leads to is another truth about the league is that it's a pendulum league, because once everyone starts to copy and overemphasize something that's successful, it creates a market inefficiency that the smartest GMs are going to figure out and capitalize on. And I feel like Philadelphia, along with Baltimore and Green Bay this year, went out and said, okay, everyone else is running away from the running back position. We feel as a result, we can get bigger bang for our buck by signing the best running backs on the market. And instead of just having this collection of replacement level guys, we're going to own one of the 3 to 4 difference makers at the position available to the entire league.
Yeah, look, there are. I mean, I think to me it kind of started with and maybe not started, but you saw the Lions start doing it, right, with Gibbs and Montgomery, and the
Absolutely.
way that they ran the football. And so what you from the pendulum perspective, taking it all the way back to the conversation about Fangio, and I mentioned quarters defense, right? And so a lot of defenses, because it's become a passing league, defenses have gotten smaller and they're playing with 2 high safeties. So that removes somebody from the box, which is who's going to stop the run. And so the turn of that is offensively take advantage of that. Like, we can't throw the ball down the field anymore. We're not getting those deep shots, those big plays, but let's run the football. So if you're going to play 2 high safeties, we're going to run the ball. And I think you saw the Lions do that a couple of years ago when Dan Campbell got there and really bought into that. The play action game, still big plays. And I think that you've seen that kind of momentum shifting back that way, to your point, right? Derrick Henry, obviously Saquon. Now, the thing that you've got to say, though, is, I mean, there are very good running backs in the league, It's just, do they get used, right? And it became that we're going to give the guy the ball 10 times, right? And it's going to be sporadically. Whereas, like, when you see what they do with Henry or what they do with Saquon, we're going to feature him, right? We're going to hand him the football over and over and over again. Let him get into a rhythm. Let our offensive line lean on the defense a little bit and go that direction, because everybody has gotten smaller and faster and plays with the too high shell now. It's advantageous to the run game. So it's definitely swinging back that way. It's always going to be a passing league. It's always going to be a quarterback-driven league. People want to see points. I think the great thing about the Eagles this year and Saquon, and even look, Derrick Henry and the Ravens, because I had those guys, is the ability to rip off those long runs, right? They want it's a TV idea, right? Like, they want the big play. They want people sitting at their seat because they don't know when somebody's going to score. And going back to that NFC Championship game, right? The Commanders come out, go 18 plays, and then bam, right? Like, there goes Saquon, and he's gone, right? So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how over the next couple of years, if things start to cycle back that way to an extent. It'll never be I-backs, lead week, power, that kind of football. But it'll be 12 personnel with two really good athletes, a tight end out there that you have to defend in the run and pass, and a good tailback. I mean, those are all things that I can see. That's where the NFL is going, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to your point, just in terms of, scheme to some extent, but I think most importantly, personnel, you're really just not going to be able to build a defense that is designed to stop a power run game, because there's just not going to be enough of that. What you're really going to have to do is count on the fact that there are a very limited number of Saquon Barkleys and Derrick Henrys. Mm-hmm. And then when you face those teams, you just have to hope that you can win shootouts with them, put them in a position where they're down multiple scores, and then they can't lean on the run game anymore. And that's why Philadelphia just really puts you in a blender, because they have done such a good job stocking their defense with young talent who they've got playing on rookie deals. And, they unbelievably, they find a reclamation project in Zach Bond, the former Saints linebacker. And that guy's a contender for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, just everything has come up Millhouse for Philadelphia this season.
Definitely. And a lot of that is because of coaching. They've got a really good coaching staff there in Philly on the defensive side of the ball, especially. Sure. They develop football players. And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost when you talk about great coordinators and those guys. Is like, there are guys that are great with X's and O's but can't teach you how to do it. And I think that what you see, and from both of these defensive coordinators and defenses, right, are guys that have the ability to put together very creative schemes that give offenses problems, but also take talent and develop it into it so that it works in their system. Like Zach Bond, right? Like, he was a special teams player for the Saints, really, at the end of the day. But, like, they worked with him. They brought him in. He does exactly what he's supposed to do in the system. And he's been an amazing story this year. So much fun to watch.
Off the top of your head, they're an interior defensive lineman consistently playing at a higher level than Jalen Carter in the NFL right now?
Yeah, no, maybe not. The only guys that I can think of off the top of my head would be Chris Jones, because sometimes he does line up inside, right? You know what I mean? And then they had some young guys in St. Louis, in LA, the Rams. The Fisk kid played really well. But no, not. I think the thing with Jalen Carter this year, and he was the one to me in the Ravens game to me was where I think everybody was like, oh, he had played really well, and was way better early in the year than he had been. But that Ravens game, at the end of the game, he destroyed the inside of the pocket every single snap. And what it did was it forced Lamar to not be able to step into the pocket and throw the football and escape. They did a great job with the ends, the edge guys, like getting around, but like they couldn't block him inside. And I think the things that you're seeing him do right now are pretty incredible. I mean, he is, again, I don't think I can quite take it away from Chris Jones yet, but like he is the guy that on defense you have to account for every single snap when you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Just like the Eagles have to do with Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, that offensive line, they have to know where he is. Now, I think the thing, again, talking Super Bowl, the interior three of the Kansas City Chiefs are really good. Really good. Creed Humphreys, their center. I'm dropping the names of the guards off the top of my head. I know they moved Tooney out to tackle, which I don't know who the other guard is, but like their three interior guys are as good as anybody or worse. So maybe 2 out of the 3 now. And I think I'm going back to I had the Eagles again against Carolina. And Carolina spent a lot of money on their guards and center. And Jalen was not as effective in that game. Right. So I think this is a huge challenge and a huge moment for Jalen Carter on the biggest stage that there is in professional football to kind of play against some of the best guys inside and see if he can dominate the football game. Because the thing about Chris Jones is they move him out to the edge, right? Chris will go line up at the end. He'll stand up sometimes. He'll be at nose, but Jalen pretty much just plays inside.
Well, I think there's an opportunity here as well for, a guy like Milton Williams, the other starting defensive tackle for Philly, Louisiana Tech kid, just an off-the-charts athlete for a human being of his size. He can be a factor in this game. You talk about these Georgia kids, Nolan Smith, another first-round pick off that Bulldogs defense. He has really come into his own, 10.5 sacks this year. I think 4 in the postseason.
Yep.
So it's not all about – sometimes if Jalen Carter just commands a double team, that's really all you need him to do because you have other guys who can disrupt what the offense is doing. I just think about Kirby Smart had – just if you look at the guys on the Eagles, if you look at Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Kaylee Ringo, and Lewis Sine, who's on their practice squad. That is a ridiculous amount of talent to have on a single collegiate defense. I mean, not only I'm not surprised they won a national championship. When I think about it, I'm just kind of surprised anybody scored any points on them at all. Like it is just unbelievable how they got all that talent together. It might have been a little early practice for the NIL era, if I were to guess. But however they did it, man, just remarkable. Remarkable.
Yeah, and to see all those guys turn, well, not all, most of them have turned into dominant NFL football players, right?
Yes.
Like that to me is kind of what you're saying, right? Like you can have a great college defense with great names that get drafted, right? But these are guys that are now producing at the highest level in the biggest games and on a great football team. So yeah, it's pretty incredible what Kirby did down there, and who knows how much money was left in paper bags, back then.
Definitely some non-consecutive unmarked bills, some Swiss bank accounts, the Cayman Islands maybe getting involved. But however they did it, they put together a generational defense down there in Athens, and now Philadelphia Eagles fans are the beneficiaries of it. A pleasure to be talking pro football with you guys here. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're live at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. 3/4 of the obligatory PSU pregame show here. Chris Bucanani, Mike the Mailman, and Brandon Noble. So, guys, we have our Penn State football pregame show that we've been doing for quite some time now, improbably, unbelievably, about to go into its 10th season this fall, which would be a pretty fun one for the Nittany Lions. I'd be remiss if we don't talk a little bit of college just vis-a-vis the impact of this year's Philadelphia Eagles team. I feel like what is really, and Mike and I talked about it in the first segment, breakthrough national superstardom of Saquon Barkley and who Saquon is as a player, as a person, and who he has been one of the brightest shining stars of the league this year on one of its best teams. I think, Noble, it's fair to say that has had some tangible benefit for the brand of Penn State football at a time when everything's pointing up for the program.
Oh, definitely. I mean, look, from a program perspective, right? Obviously, you see it right on social media. There's the famous, Nittany Lion in every Super Bowl except the ones that they weren't, right? Which is great. I love that, right? And so it is. It's a huge part of marketing for the program, and it's always great when it's a guy like Saquon, right? Who not only is the guy that everybody in the professional football world is talking about now. You look at his story, you look at everything he handled in New York, kind of how they treated him, right? And then he goes, again, he's not from Philly, but he's from Eastern PA. He went to high school here.
He's from Lehigh Valley, which is even better.
That's exactly right. He is, and he plays at Penn State. Kind of reignites Penn State after everything that happened, right, with the sanctions, and he was part of that really fun football team that kind of got things going again, and it's just been a great story, and it is. Look, I mean, it's a testament to the kind of guys that Penn State football puts out, right? Not everybody is that physically gifted, right, but just good people. And that's really what you want, right? Like from a Letterman's perspective, obviously you want to win football games. You want to watch guys be successful in the professional level. But you just want good people coming out of this thing. And I think that's a great sign for the program and what James is doing there. And everybody should be excited about it. Should be excited for him. For Saquon, but at the same time, I think it's a testament to kind of who we are as a program and the kind of people that they're recruiting to come play there.
Yeah, kind of right now the cornerstone star of the class of 27, the recruiting class, Pennsylvania running back by the name of Messiah Mickens. He's a national recruit, and he's a Penn State commit. It seemed like a pretty strong Penn State commit, but a lot of big boys going after him. I'm sure a lot of offers being made, a lot of convincing sales pitches being thrown his way. And he just recently doubled down, shut down his recruiting and said, no, I'm a Nittany Lion. Now, again, we all know don't count on it until you see it. And then when you see it, prepare for 4 years of other schools trying to recruit him away at any given moment. Yeah. I do feel like there was just a little bit that if you are a star running back in Pennsylvania right now and you're committed to Penn State, you've got to be thinking, I don't know that I can go anywhere else and pass up the place that developed Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely. And when you look at the way the football team, the Nittany Lions, right? They ran the football this year, right? With Singleton and Allen. That's in this world, right? If you're a running back, you want to go someplace where they're going to give you the football, because you go out into the Big 12, into that world, or the SEC or whatever, right? They're going to throw the football around the yard. And not to say that Penn State really couldn't do that this year, but at the end of the day, right? Like, they ran the football really well. Yeah. And I think there's been a little bit of a rebirth from an offensive line perspective, right? Obviously, we've done an amazing job with tight ends there at Penn State. And that identity, right, is the kind of place that as a running back you want to go. And I think when you look at getting both of these guys back next year, right, that's a pretty talented running back room. You know what I mean? And so that to me means those guys will get developed even more. And with Saquon's success and maybe the pendulum swinging back a little bit in the NFL, there's a little bit more value now. But I think, look, not to get down the NIL rabbit hole, but one of the positions that was most affected or is most affected by like earnings are running backs, right? They have very short careers in the NFL. Most of their good years are spent in college football. And so I think that if there's one position group, right, that really should and has to maximize the NIL idea, it's the running back position, right? You only have so many miles on those tires, and everyone, I always laugh, when I coached Pop Warner football with my boys, right? You'd have moms come over and be like, little Jimmy's a running back. And I was like, ma'am, like, that means 11 people are going to try and hit your kid every single time he gets the football. Like, why would you want to do that to your child? Like, it's insane. So I think that there's some opportunity there. And look, it sounds like, and I don't know, like, I'm not that close to the program. It sounds like there was some donor money. There's an influx, right? It feels like things are going in the right direction, right? You get Jim Knowles. You've made some moves. You lose Tom Allen. Look, another thing, I mean, just completely sidebar, Greg Gattuso's coming back. Think about this. I don't know if you guys know Greg, right? But Greg was the head coach at University of Albany. He was a defensive tackle there on the 82 team. He's a great guy. He's a Pennsylvania guy. He walked away from a head coaching job where he has done a great job at the University of Albany, done a great job to come be the defensive line analyst for the Nittany Lions, right? Like you pull Jim Knowles away from the net, like things are going in the right direction. You know
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I said, like it's all pointing in the Mike the Mailman kind of positive way right now. Where one day it's going to be
next year. You realize that?
I do, and it's only appropriate. Look, man, a decade into this thing, he deserves the undefeated season that he's been calling for.
I'm with you. I am with you.
Brandon.
Yeah, the point about Gattuso. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. Yeah,
No, I'm good. Thank you.
The point about Gattuso, I said on Twitter today, like I think it is super cool that we have coaching our defensive line, which can be one of the strengths of the team this year. Two guys who were part of like two of the most important Penn State football teams. Deion Barnes was Big Ten Rookie of the Year on the 2012 team that held this whole thing together. And Gattuso was a senior defensive lineman on the team that won Penn State's first national championship. So I love the fact that that's the 1-2 punch Jim Knowles has coaching his defensive line.
Yep.
So I by the way, I just want to go back and clarify a comment I made earlier. The Lehigh Valley, all right, it ain't the Mahoning Valley, and certainly not the Nittany Valley, but it's still pretty. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, Brandon, I can't let you go without doing some random number generating.
Nice.
So I'm going to ask you for a score prediction, but before I get there, I just want to ask from your perspective, how do you break this one down from a high level in terms of a few keys to the game? However you want to take that.
I think that it's if you look at the Eagles offense versus the Chiefs defense, right? My guess is they're going to do everything they can. They're going to throw the house at the line of scrimmage, right? Can they stop the running game and make Jalen Hurts beat you, right? That's the key right there. If they can do that, then it's going to be on Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jahan Dotson and Goddard, right? Like, can they make that happen against – if you're one-dimensional against Spags, that's a handful.
Yeah.
So that's key, right? The matchup of Chris Jones versus the Eagles' offensive line. Those are things that will be really interesting to see how they play out. You flip it the other way. Can you figure out how to not allow Kansas City to get first downs, right? Because this is what they do, right? And this is where I'm going. Like, they don't score a lot of points right now. They're not. They're winning a lot of one-score games. You know, it's absurd right now. What they're 18-0 or 18-1 and one-score games, whatever it is. But like they have the ability on third down to just get that first down, right? And that kills you defensively, right? After a while, and the way that they do it is the most maddening part. It's Mahomes scrambling, it's a bootleg, it's him running out of bounds right past the sticks, right? Or it's Kelsey just playing basketball, right? Like I heard this great analogy. Like he's a hooper, right? Like that's what he doesn't run routes. I was listening to a safety talk about him the other day. I wish I could remember who it was, but like basically they're like he doesn't run routes. Like when you study film and you watch a tight end, it's 3rd and 8, right? He's going to run a hitch. Right, he just kind of walks off the ball and looks for a spot and turns around, and those are maddening defenses.
This is IM field stuff. Okay,
that's exactly
go
right.
Upfield and get open.
That's exactly right. And those are, and I think that if the Eagles can figure out a way to keep Mahomes from beating them with his feet a couple of times, doesn't have to be a lot, a couple of times, get him off the field, right? And then same thing, right? Just kind of know where Kelsey is and understand how to kind of bracket him or kind of keep him in key situations because they have some receiving threats, some issues that you have to handle. But I think they're good enough on the back end to handle.
Yeah.
And I do think when you're going back to the Bills played a ton of cover one against them, like man-to-man. That's what they were doing a lot. And Fangio doesn't do a ton of that. So I think that's a good matchup for the secondary of the Eagles versus the Chiefs receiving core is a solid matchup. It's can the D-line keep Mahomes from extending drives with his feet?
I like that. I will add to what you've contributed thus far to say a major pain point for Philadelphia in Super Bowl 57 was special teams, specifically the Chiefs punt return game.
Oh, yeah.
You simply cannot give up a long punt return like Philly did in that game.
Yep.
Because Patrick Mahomes with a short field is going to gut you every single time.
Every time. Yep.
And improbably for Philly, given how strong an asset Jake Elliott has been through most of his career, they are going into this game with a major deficit in the kicking game. There's not a lot of confidence in Jake Elliott's ability to make a clutch kick. And the Chiefs feel really good about the fact that if we don't get 7, like you get us anywhere within the 40, and it's automatic. So those are places where, little things you can give up, little point deficits, even if it's only 3 points. And what you described, that Chiefs death by 1,000 paper cuts offense, where they just keep your defense on the field and keep your defense on the field. Not for nothing. No one is going to remember it because the final score reflected most points in a playoff game. That's what Jaden Daniels in Washington was doing to the Philadelphia defense through a lot of that NFC Championship game. And the difference was, and this is going to go back to what I was going to say about this game, this Eagles defense doesn't get to turnovers by luck.
Right.
They are very clearly coached to punch the ball out. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, like that dude just has a nose for the ball.
Yep.
And I think Philly has got to do what has not been done by very many defenses all season long, which is force the Chiefs into at least one bad turnover.
Yep.
That does a couple of things. Stalls a drive for Kansas City and robs them of an opportunity to get points.
Right.
Sets the Eagles offense up with a short field and then gives them the opportunity to shift momentum by putting points on the board. So it's not only turning the ball over, you got to get the turnover, but then it becomes doubly incumbent on the offense to convert that into something on the scoreboard.
Yep.
Because, again, you're trying to get this thing to double digits inside 5 minutes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
even that's not always enough. Bills fans will tell you all about that.
That's exactly right. I think you're spot on, right? Can you steal a possession for your offense? And I do think that when one of the things that I noticed in the NFL this year as I called games were that there were those moments where defensively in the red zone, you keep the other team from scoring a touchdown, right? And can you just force field goals in the red zone? And that came out to be something that really meant something at the end of the football game, right? Offense drives down there, they're in the red zone, you hold them to 3. They're not able to get in the end zone and get the 6-7 points. That's a big deal. And I think that with both of these offenses, I do think that there's unique challenges both ways, right? You're going to get the runs, you're going to get the tush push from the Eagles, right? You're going to get that world, right? And then dealing with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in the red zone, and Andy Reid with that offense that he runs down there. It's going to be it looks on paper like it should be a really good football game. To me, this is exactly what you want if you're the NFL. You got the best players in the league on the field. You do have the 2 best teams in the league. You know what I mean? And you got some great storylines, some amazing coaches. It should be a really good football game.
Okie dokie. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. No Goon or Ironhead. Both the guys out today, Chris Buchanani and Mike the Mailman from the obligatory PSU pregame show filling in. For those guys, we got another one of our obligatory castmates on the line, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle Brandon Noble. We're live here on 98.7 The Fox at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. Reminder, you can hear the Super Bowl live here on The Fox, or go to 987thefox.info and stream our signal. Coverage starts at 5 o'clock this Sunday. So, Noble, we'll let you randomly generate numbers. Before we do that, in the last segment, Mike and I are going to do prop bets. I'm going to let him get a preview of one of them so you can sound off. One of the things you can bet on for this game, and you and I know nothing about sports gambling as opposed to Horn and Mailman, who are, eyeballs deep in all this world.
Yeah.
You can bet on whether or not Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift. You taking that bet?
I'm going no.
Yeah, I'm a hard no on that one, Mike. We'll save you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? No, go ahead. Tell me right now.
That's 3 no's.
Okay, yes. All right. Yeah. You're throwing your money away on that one. Okay, so I am going to now, I've promised the Goon that I would share his prediction for the Super Bowl. So like normal, Noble, I'm going to let you go last because
Thank you.
I'm not going to make a prediction because I'm too nervous. I'll let Mike decide whether he wants to make one in this final segment. But here's what Keith Goon Conlin has to say about our beloved Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. Quote, "In a beautiful day for the Birds and Saquon, the Birds beat that Chiefs ass 38-17.
Ooh.
Both lines dominate the day. Saquon goes for plus 150, wins MVP. KC gets turned over a few times and can't catch up. Eagles avenge the loss to the Chiefs and losing in New Orleans in 1981. All family business will be avenged, but the Raiders. They've suffered enough." So that's Goon Conlin's prediction. He's got the Eagles running away with this 38-17. Brandon Noble, take us out. Randomly generate some numbers.
Yeah, I love random number generator on the show, on obligatory. I think this is a really good football game. I don't think that anybody is going to really be able to pull away from the Chiefs. I just don't feel like that's a thing. But I love Goon's enthusiasm 100%. I think it's a little closer. I think we're going to get in that kind of 31-24 range kind of world, right? And I think the Eagles win it. I really do. Like I'm a believer. I've watched them. I do think that Kansas City, if the Eagles play the way that they have played, they can beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs have had an amazing run, and you can't count them out till the zeros are up on the clock. But I think the Eagles get it. I really do. I think they're hungry for. They're really hungry for it. I mean, they really are.
It's something special going on in the city of brotherly love this season, for sure. Noble, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much for spending this time with us. Always enjoyable. I know there are probably at least a couple of people watching this saying, "Hey, guys, you can get the three of you together to talk about the NFL for 2 hours. Where's the next podcast?" We're working on it. I promise. This has been an absolute nightmare trying to sync up the four of our schedules, but we're going to make it happen sooner rather than later. I appreciate you, Brandon. So again, we're going to take another break here. Then we'll wrap it up on the other side. We're Quaker Steak and Lube here in State College. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show live on 98.7 The Fox. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox, the Goon and Ironhead.
Definitely enjoy the jaunty tune of that jingle. What about you, Mike the Mailman?
Yeah, I like that jingle.
Yeah, you're a fan of that one? Yeah,
yeah.
It's good. I love those radio jingles. They always get me. You're tuned into 98.7 The Fox. Indeed, this is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. Always a great place to come out, have a lunch meeting, enjoy dinner with the family, have a couple of bevs at the bar, watch sports on the flat screen TVs all over the place. One of the many compliments I can pay to Quaker Steak and Lube in no particular order. And are we getting paid to be here? Yes. Am I saying this dishonestly because of that? Absolutely not. I've been a big fan of this place since long before I made my unceremonious return to the airwaves. Best selection of wing sauces in Happy Valley. No question about it. Yep. Something for someone of every palate. This is not a small thing. Placement of the televisions, strategic in such a way that no matter where you are and where you're seated at the table, that's always a complicated thing sometimes. I got to pick the chair to make sure I can see the TV. Not a concern. Here at the Lube, you can see the televisions anywhere. Like, you're going to have great view to the action, whether it's a Penn State wrestling match or a Nittany Lions football game. You're watching the Super Bowl, whatever it is. And first and foremost, truly the best service, most consistent service. That it's high quality, of course, but the consistency of the quality to me is the big differentiator, especially post-COVID. If you've gone out to eat in the area, it can get a little rough. And not here, not ever, not once. Just it will be consistently high quality. So do ask that you come out and join us here or anytime at Quaker Steak and Lube. And a reminder, if you're listening to us locally here in Happy Valley on the airwaves on 98.7 The Fox, we're going to have coverage of the Super Bowl this Sunday. That starts at 5 o'clock. And you can check out the station's new website and stream the radio signal from anywhere in the world. You can listen to the Goon and Ironhead show, listen to all our other great locally focused programming at 987thefox.info. That's 987thefox.info. Get the programming lineup, listen to the Airstream, sign up to become a Fox Insider on the email list. Never share your email address with anyone. All we'll do is send you news, insider information, and some great deals from some of the station's other sponsors. So 987thefox.info is where you want to be. Chris Buchanani here with campus legend Mike the Mailman. And Mike, one of the fun aspects of this show every year, which we end up doing more often than not Thursday before the Super Bowl, is I love to go through some of these Super Bowl prop bets.
That's right. We on the last segment we talked about the one prop bet. I didn't know there was a prop.
Apparently, I
wonder what the odds are.
One of the things, I'll get them for you. One of the things I like to do is I don't want to do prep for this segment. I always like to pull them up and we go through them sight unseen because there are some crazy ones and I like to get the top of mind reaction. So if you're just tuning in, one of the Super Bowl prop bets you can lay some bones down on this year is whether or not Travis Kelce will propose to Taylor Swift during or after the game.
You think that would depend on the outcome of the game?
Well, I mean, I think it would be. Look, if he was planning that, I hope the plans get ruined. Because I don't know how you do that after you lose, and I very, very much want them to
you
lose.
don't want to do that after you lose. You're right. That's true.
But I, irrespective of the outcome of the game, I'm a hard no on that one. You're a hard no on that one.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so here we go. Taylor Swift inspired props. I'm looking for this now. Here we go. Yes is plus 800 at BetMGM.
Oh yeah.
You taking that one?
Yeah.
10 times out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So let's go back. I'm getting this from the sportingnews.com, by the way. Or sportingnews.com. You know, I hate to keep having these digressions, but I just got to say this, Mike. The kids today do not appreciate the concept of magazines. Right? That's not a thing that they process in their brain.
Yep.
They will never know the excitement of having the new issue of Sports Illustrated show up in the mailbox.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, the heyday of the sports magazine, Sports Illustrated was great, but for my money, the Sporting News was the publication for the hardcore sports fan.
I agree.
It was the best, and it makes me sad to see the once great The Sporting News reduced to this sort of like ad-filled clickbait site at sportingnews.com. But it is what it is, and thanks very much to them for providing us with these prop bets we'll talk about today on the Lion Country Kia Goon Ironhead show. So first one we got, Mike, is the coin toss, and you can get plus 100 on tails.
You know, I lost last year for the first time in 7 years. On
You had a rough Super Bowl last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But I like what is it? I like tails again.
Me too. I'm a tails never fails guy, so I'm with you. All right, so you and I are both on tails for that one. National anthem, another popular one. We never know the national anthem singer, like never. It is. I'm not 100% sure I'm pronouncing the name correctly. John Batiste, or it could be John Batista. I don't know, but we're going with Batiste. Incredible singer and performer, it says here. Grammy Award winner. And it says is less likely to stretch out the anthem longer than it needs to be. So the under is 120.5 seconds.
I think it's going to be over.
I'm with you too.
I like the over.
Yeah, it's going to go longer than 2 minutes.
Oh yeah,
I think. Yeah. The Star Spangled Banner. I hate to say this. I love America. Okay, I love the United States of America. I am a patriot. One of the great things about this country is the First Amendment, which protects our right to free speech. I'm going to exercise it right now to say the Star Spangled Banner is not a great national anthem. It is not a great song. We have one of the best. I think we have one of the most moving, beautiful songs of national pride in, appropriately enough, America the Beautiful. Okay, that's such a great song. The Ray Charles version of that, I can't listen to it without tearing up. So evocative, such a great song. Everybody knows it. It's so easy to sing. The Star Spangled Banner, if you are not a really talented vocalist, is absolutely brutal. I love the folks who sit around me at Beaver Stadium in our season ticket seats. You know what? Vocal prowess is not among their skills. Give it a choice. If I could swap it out today, I'd take America the Beautiful as the national anthem without blinking.
It's funny you say that because I remember on a third show ever of the obligatory, we had this whole show dedicated to that same issue.
Yes, we gave that spiel. You know what, Mike? You've inspired me. We're going to do that segment again for our 10th anniversary this fall. We talked about the Penn State fight songs, and I used this analogy. I said, I fight on stage.
Hey, oh yeah,
it's not a good fight song. Victory's better. The Nittany Lion is better. We picked the worst one. It has the word "on" in the lyrics 75 times, and I said it's like the Star Spangled Banner of all these great songs, and we picked the worst one to be the main song. So anyway, sorry if I made anybody angry, but it's too much. It's too much range, too many low notes and high notes. It's really hard to sing. I can't sing that. So I can't sing the national anthem. No, it's America the Beautiful should be the national anthem. Anyway, if you get nothing else out of listening to this broadcast, it's go to YouTube and look up the Ray Charles version of America the Beautiful. If it does not tug on your heartstrings, go get checked out.
Oh yeah.
You know, you might be on the verge of crossing over. Yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The great Ray Charles. Okay, Mike, do you know Kendrick Lamar?
Yes,
you do.
What's the name?
You're familiar with his work, his music?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. No shame.
No. Oh, okay.
Hey, he's doing the halftime show.
Okay.
One of the great artists of his generation. You know, one of the great voices in hip hop. Definitely one of the defining voices in music in the 21st century. So, what does that mean? It means that you and I know virtually nothing about him.
Exactly.
Because we're old.
Yeah.
Well, I'm old, and you are young at heart. Let's
I'm with some now.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I only know a little bit. I will freely admit I have always been kind of an old soul. I mean, I probably know as much about like jazz music from the 20s as I do stuff that was popular when I was in high school. Yeah. But I do love that stuff too. And then you get out of college, and I'm like most people, like I stopped being like aware of music after that. So I've got plus 380 that he is going to begin his halftime show with his hit song "Squabble Up."
No way. These guys he'll start something small, then he'll want to end it big. So
you're a no on that.
I'm a no on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to go yes.
Okay.
I know nothing about this.
I neither do I.
Not a thing. But if you're out there and you're listening and you're disgusted by our ignorance, all I can do is apologize. But understand that we're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes.
No.
We are doing what we always do on this program, which is be honest with the audience, right? Okay, sticking with Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, Mike. And this one I think we can speak to a little bit more authoritatively. I got an over-under of 10.5 for the total number of songs in the show. Now, if you've watched a lot of these superstar Super Bowl halftime shows where the artist has a big catalog, what they'll do is they'll just kind of like medley the songs together, and they'll clip out little pieces, bits and pieces, so they cram the highlights of their entire catalog into the show. So they're saying that this one is going to be an OU of 10.5.
No way. No,
you're going under
definitely.
See, I could see it hitting double digits.
I gotta look this guy up when I get home.
You should. He's very talented. His music is really good. Again, my brain is not able to. It's only able to hold so much useless information.
Yeah.
And I have to remember so much stuff about. Bolton, by the way, is the Missouri linebacker for the Chiefs.
That's the guy. Oh,
yeah. See, I got to hold that much information. I got to remember all these Penn State football players going back decades and what numbers they wore and what games they played in.
You do it so well too. You do it very well.
Look, I can't also have, like I can't do Miles Davis, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, Stone Temple Pilots, and Nirvana, and then keep adding to that. I just had to stop somewhere. So music is where I stopped. But let's move on. But I'm gonna go with you. I'm going under on the 10.5. I think it's 10 songs flat.
What about Dionne Warwick, the Temptations, the Drifters?
I love the Temptations. I'm not a big Dionne Warwick fan, but
all right.
The Temptations are great, phenomenal. All right, now here is one that always gets me. Okay, so you can do a prop bet on the color of the Gatorade that is going to be dumped on the winning coach.
Oh,
and here are your choices, Mike. Only yellow or lime green. See, I got a problem with that because
you don't know who's going to win, first of all.
Oh, and you think no way the Chiefs are going to have green Gatorade. Yeah. All right. Oh, what about orange?
Yeah,
I see. I'm a big orange Gatorade guy. This is my favorite flavor.
That's the original flavor, I think, wasn't it?
No, I think the yellow is the original.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm a big orange Gatorade guy. You don't get that option though. So even though it says apparently the Chiefs have drenched Andy Reid with purple Gatorade after each of their past 2 Super Bowl victories. So, you know what? Okay, all right. Now I misunderstood this. You're just betting on whether or not it will be yellow/green lime.
Oh, okay.
My mistake. See, this is the problem when you come into these sight unseen. So you got plus 250 on that. You got yes or no. And I just gave you a big data point. The Chiefs have gone purple. I do think, if I am remembering correctly, I think the Eagles tend to go with the yellow.
Yeah.
So maybe you're picking the winner in this one, or the likelihood. So you going yes or no on the yellow green line?
Yes. I'm going yes.
As close as I am going to get on this one is I'm going to stick with you.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with you, Mike.
Good.
All right, but it should be orange because orange Gatorade is the best flavor.
It should be,
in my opinion.
That's the best.
All right, we already both went no on plus 800 to Travis Kelce will propose to Taylor Swift. Ooh, how about this one? Will there be a scorigami plus 2,800 for yes? Do you know what a scorigami is, Mike?
No, what is that?
It's a relatively new term that's emerged in the internet era. There's a service that posts this online. A scorigami is a term for a unique final score. So in all the history of the National Football League, there's never been a final score of this. And it says here that one has occurred in only 3 of 58 Super Bowls. Get this, all of which involve the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
That's weird, right?
That really
That's
is.
strange. So, no is minus 10,000 on the books that list it. So would you throw a couple of bucks on yes, just to see what happens?
Absolutely.
That's a little fun little $10 prop bet.
How do you know it?
Okay.
That's a good.
All right.
That's a steal.
So the scorigami, a unique final score in NFL history. 3 in 58 Super Bowls, all of which involved the Denver Broncos, who are not playing in this one. But why not?
I never heard that term.
Okay, now here's a term. I was not familiar with this. This question is, will there be an octopus? Have you heard that? Do you know what that is?
I know what an octopus is, but I don't know what it is pertaining to
You don't know
football.
what an actual octopus is.
That's right.
Okay. An octopus, according to sportingnews.com, is when a player scores a touchdown and then scores the 2-point conversion on the ensuing attempt. Because it's 8 points for one player.
Yes.
Now, this one is a little bit interesting because we have seen this season multiple times. The Eagles will score a touchdown, and then there will be a penalty that moves the ball from the 2 to the 1, and they do the brotherly shove.
Yep.
We've also seen, I believe, Saquon Barkley score a touchdown and then get a 2-point conversion.
Yep.
So, nevertheless, it's the odds are stacked against it. No is a minus 5,000 on this one.
Definitely not.
So you're saying no?
No.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's go to some more Taylor Swift prop bets for Super Bowl 59, which you can hear live here on 98.7 The Fox. Stream the signal at 987thefox.info. So let's see.
There's been a lot of Taylor Swift stuff this year.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Oh, okay. All right. So these are not actually about Taylor Swift. These are these are prop bets named after Taylor Swift songs. And again, my daughter listens to go back to Kendrick Lamar. Okay. I do try to at least listen to modern music. There's a lot of good stuff out right now, especially. I think we're in a really nice era for music. My daughter listens to a lot of stuff that I like, but I will say that I'll listen to it. I'll like it. I have no idea who the artist is. I don't know what the song title is. So there's Kendrick Lamar stuff I know that I listen to and like. I probably couldn't tell you it's him. I couldn't tell you the name of the song to save my life. I'm the same way with Taylor Swift. A very talented musician, has some nice music. My daughter loves it. I don't know these song names. I don't know the album names. I don't know any of this stuff. But I'll give you the bets and their Taylor Swift inspired nicknames. 15. Patrick Mahomes to have 15 plus rushing yards and 215 plus passing yards, minus 175.
I think that's
I'm all over that. One.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, is it over now? Chiefs to lead by 14 or more points at any point in the game, plus 225.
No.
Yep, with you on that one.
Yep.
Gold Rush. Saquon Barkley to have 20 plus rushing yards in each of the 4 quarters, plus 350.
And each of the three, each quarter.
Yeah, so he hits 20 or more all 4 quarters.
Yes.
I'm a no on that one.
All right.
Shake it off. Eagles to score first and Chiefs to win together, a plus 300.
No.
Yes, sir. 22. Any quarter to have 22 plus points scored, plus 400.
Any quarter, 22 points.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Mike. All right. Mine, Travis Kelce, to have 87 plus receiving yards and to score 1 plus touchdown, plus 450.
No.
Yeah, I'm a no on the receiving yards there. That's a lot of receiving yards for a tight end, even though he makes big plays.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets up close to 100.
His number's not 44, right?
Yeah, no, it is not.
Okay, just checking.
No, it is not. Although I'll tell you what, so help me God. If some team, I don't care if it's the Buffalo Bills, I don't care who it is. If any idiot general manager out there lets the Chiefs trade up in the first round so that they can get Tyler Warren to replace Travis Kelce, Roger Goodell has got to take action. It's just getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
It's getting out of it. You're right.
Look what you made me do. Oh, okay, I know that song. Travis Kelce, 4 plus receptions in each half. That's a plus 500.
No.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. Me, exclamation point. There's some Taylor Swift fan out there laughing at the way I'm reading these. Saquon Barkley, longest rush of 50 plus yards is a plus 350.
No.
Bet with your head and not with your heart. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm going to stick with you.
Right.
I'm going to stick with you.
That's right. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. Friendship bracelets. Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco combine for 3 plus touchdowns. That's a plus 800.
No.
You don't think so? 3 touchdowns on the ground from the 2 Chiefs running backs?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fearless. Patrick Mahomes, 5 plus rushing yards in every quarter, plus 800.
I like that.
Me too.
Yep.
Me too. I'll take that one for sure. 2 is better than 1. 2 plus successful 2-point conversions in the game. That's plus 950 on that one.
No.
I'm a nah.
No.
We're aligned, Mike. We are aligned.
Yeah.
Style. Saquon Barkley to score 1 plus receiving touchdown and 1 plus rushing touchdown. So he's got to get in the end zone once as a receiver, once as a runner, at least. He's plus 1,000 on yes.
I like the yes.
You think so?
Yep.
You think so? Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna go no on that one.
All right.
Actually, it's very tough for Eagles running backs to score touchdowns as receivers because the opportunities are very limited. Ready for it? Travis Kelce to score on the Chiefs' first drive plus 1,100.
No way. Nope.
On their first drive, yeah, I'm going to say no.
What if they're shut out? They won't have any score, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Deja vu. Chiefs to win by exactly 3 points plus 750.
No.
We got to go no on that one.
No,
yes.
no.
Okay. Today was a fairy tale. Chiefs to win and Travis Kelce to score 2 plus touchdowns plus 1,400.
No.
I think we already said he wasn't going to skate. So okay. So we're no on that one. All right. So, okay, last one here. Who will be mentioned first in the MVP speech? And the betting is plus 325 on the winner's teammates. I'd like to thank my teammates.
Oh. That's what they do now, right? That's what protocol say. I like to think, yeah.
So all these questions are they going to thank God?
Yeah.
God gets in there first.
Oh, that's
very
true.
often.
Oh, lately it has. You're right.
Yeah. So who are you? You team God or team teammates?
Teammates. I'll be the teammates.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'll go no on that one,
Okay.
just so we can differ on a couple of them. All right. So we're wrapping up here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. This is Chris Bucanani from the obligatory PSU pregame show with my running mate, the legendary Mike, the mailman, the campus icon himself. Appreciate you being here, Mike, always.
Thank you.
I love doing this stuff with you, man. You know that. And I know that Ironhead and Goon are deeply grateful that we were able to come in and fill in for them. Appreciate you being here with us. Reminder, we are here live at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College every Tuesday and Thursday. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you coming out and supporting our sponsors here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Thanks for listening to us locally on the airwaves here in Happy Valley on 98.7 The Fox. Go to the new website at 987thefox.info. Listen to the live stream, get the programming schedule, sign up by email to be a Fox Insider, and listen to the Super Bowl live here on 98.7 The Fox. Coverage starting at 5 this Sunday. All right, Michael, randomly generate some numbers. You want to pick this game?
Yes.
Go for it.
I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles by a lot. I like it by 11.
Okay.
I think
I'm an Eagles fan. I have been so busy this week. I haven't had the luxury of being nervous. I'm not going to pick it. All I'm going to say is enjoy the game. Let's go Birds. Until we talk to you next, take care of yourselves and each other. We are. Go Birds!
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.